This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately.
Hello. I'm not sure what's going on, but the dog camera doesn't work right now. We had a power outage. I'm not sure why that would change anything, but for some reason it's not working. So something that normally just works all the time isn't working. Also, my Portland Timbers were in the national championship game for soccer, and they gave up a really stupid, easy goal for a goalie to save, but they didn't save it. And then we went into the shootout, and we, just got nobody made their, the first two guys didn't make their penalty kicks. Overtime we almost scored a couple times, but it was pretty amazing because to get into overtime, the Timbers scored a goal with 15 seconds left in the game in extra time. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. So they gave themselves a chance, but they lost in penalty kicks. I think it's stupid, penalty kicks. I think they should just play until somebody scores again, no matter how tired people are. It's kind of a dumb ending. After a whole season, you come down to people shooting penalty kicks. That's just my opinion, though. I'm sure New York's absolutely pumped with the penalty kick situation. All right, so we're going to be moving on to part 2 of how's the audio sounding, by the way? I mean, I don't know what's going on with I'll have to figure this out after the show, how to get the camera working again. All right, well, here we go then. We're going to go get on to the part 2 of the missing Martin family. Kenneth Martin, they always refer to it as the Kenneth Martin family. Where we talked about yesterday, all these pins represent various locations where they were searching, looking around. They found a car that was driven by on the 8th that was apparently borrowed from somebody, but it was just left out on the street somewhere. There's all these different things that come up, but they're always dead ends. And so the last part that we came up with was that there was they got gas right here on December 7th in Cascade Locks. So that means they were heading in this direction. So that starts putting them here, and you can see on this larger circle where I put a circle on there. Okay, just where it seems like maybe they would be. Now, some people thought they made it up here to the loops, down into Memaloose Park area, Mosier, all kinds of different sightings. All right, so that's where we left off. This was on December 7th, 1958, and Kenneth Martin, they lived on a street where he put up candy canes in everybody's yard, and it was called Candy Cane Lane. He dressed up as Santa Claus. They were out looking for Christmas trees and other greenery, and that they took off from their home. And I think they must have left their home around 12:30 in the afternoon. And because the gas was purchased at 1, and that's on the way out there, and that's about how long it would take to get there from their house. So I would say when they bought the gas it was about 1 o'clock. And there's 3 girls in the family and a wife, and they're all missing at this point. All right. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start on, now I'm on January 2nd, 1959. I'm just going to skip through some of these. I'm not going to read all of them. Friends and neighbors of the missing Ken Martin family of 1715 Northeast 56th Avenue remember many incidents and gestures which illustrate Martin's generosity. The Martins have been missing since December 7th. They left to gather Christmas greens. More recently, during a snowy winter, Martin made bird feeders filled with seed and passed them around to neighbors to place in their yards for hungry birds. The Martins were a great family and looked upon the mountains, the beaches, and the woods as their backyard. Martin was familiar with those areas, and he was with his own yard. So he was familiar with the woods. He was just as familiar with the beach, the mountains, and everything as his own yard. For years, the parents were members of the Trails Club of Oregon. They also were active in youth work. The Martin's sister, Mrs. Dorsey, estimated she returned about 30 books to the library, which she found in the Martin's house. We already heard about that. Let's see. So this is just really kind of a, like a eulogy piece talking about how great they were. And they sound like they're really awesome, like an awesome family, really active in the neighborhood, and just really good people. And then on the 3rd, clues to missing family net, but 2 facts. So they only got 2 facts. The disappearance of Portland's Martin family is one of the most baffling missing persons cases in Oregon police annals, and has touched off what is probably the most intensive and prolonged search in the state's 100-year history. Authorities probing the mystery have harvested bushels of clues and tips, but out of all that chaff, they have gleaned only 2 kernels of facts. Hey, thanks, Paul Ayers and Lee D. Not Liberty. These are the only 2 facts. One is that the Martins intended to go on their annual quest for Christmas greenery on the afternoon of December 7th, when they left their home at 1715 Northeast 56. So I guess we can reset the home location here. So this is their house right there. And this whole lane was Candy Cane Lane, 56th Street. So he gave everybody from here to, I believe, right there, candy canes to put in their yards, which is a lot of homes. I mean, it's a lot. It might have been a little bit shorter than that. Maybe he cut it off at a different block, but, he got everybody set up. So if you look at it from above, it's pretty easy little, you start driving this direction, get on 84 at some point, and head on out there. Looks like, yeah, there's 84 right there. So it's, somewhere around in this area, you get on 84 and take off. I live over on the other side over there. Okay, so that they know the day that they left. The other solid clue, proved by a credit card slip, is that Ken Martin purchased 5 gallons of gasoline at a Chevron station in Cascade Locks the day the family of 5 vanished. Mr. and Mrs. Robert D. Evans Hubbard visited with the Martins the forenoon of December 7th, arriving at 10:30 a.m. and departing at about noon. Their house looked like the average Sunday morning in the average home, remembers Miss Evan, a second cousin of the 48-year-old Mrs. Barbara Martins. While the Evanses and the Martins visited the Evans children, Jimmy 9, Susan 7, and Marcy Welsh 7, who was with them, played with the Martin girls. So the names of the girls that are missing are Barbara, who was 14, Virginia 13, and Susan 11. The Evans asked the Martins to accompany them to the home of Calvin E. Welsh at 15525 Southeast Powell Boulevard for dinner. Welsh is a second cousin of Mrs. Martin, and Marcy is the daughter of Welsh and his wife. The Martins refused the invitation, so that's what we were talking about yesterday and early on my recap. Refused the invitation, even though it was repeated by phone from Mrs. Welsh. Martin said it was such a nice day that they planned to go up the highway for some Christmas greens. I wish now we'd have insisted they have come with us. Alright, so, and then this map here shows all the different, kind of the vast area. Here's that Highway 35 that I put the pins on right over here. So that actually you can kind of just see that map. It's exactly the same. See how this road goes like this, and then 26 around like that. That's right here. 35, 26. So inside of this area, you know, if I was going to move that, I'd probably move it more inside of this, but I just took a stab at in the dark there. Let's see. Yeah, let me just move on to the next one. I don't think this is Martin's gas. But let me go up to this gas purchase here. Purchase time uncertain. Martin left the rear seat of his 9-passenger station wagon at home, probably to provide room for the greens. That makes sense. The gas station credit slip provides the only other solid clue. Dean Baxter, 33, owner of the Cascade Lock station, remembered that the Martins' car was headed east. So that means they were going further away from town. He pumped gas in east while he pumped gas into it. His memory was jogged because he recalled a heavy-set woman, undoubtedly Mrs. Martin, had a difficult time getting a door open to step out because the car was parked close to a gas pump. Baxter recalled that Miss Martin and one of the 3 daughters used the restroom, but that's all he can remember. I've racked my brain steady, he told the Oregonian. Baxter station records show that Martin's gas purchase was the 7th credit card sale made after 1 p.m. that fateful Sunday. With cash sales mixed in between, it is difficult to ascertain just when the Martins were there. He has estimated the time could have been 4 p.m. So that would be more... 4 p.m. is way later. They were saying it was 1. Okay, I guess it could have been 4. But I don't think so. I think it was on the way out, and that would have been more like 1 o'clock, right at that time. If so, it would indicate the Martins stopped somewhere before reaching Cascade Locks. Okay, that would, because that would mean that they didn't drive straight there. After leaving home, but see, that wouldn't make sense because they wouldn't want to be out there in the dark. At the moderate speed Martin drove, it would have taken him about an hour to cover the 40 miles to Cascade Locks. Okay, so that would be like 1:30 then. Since their departure was not later than 2 p.m., okay, they don't even know what time they left, it would leave an hour unaccounted for. Well, that's if you're saying that you're just using the extremes. To pin down the time the Martins were at Baxter Station, Hood River County Sheriff Rupert L. Gilmouth is trying to locate the 6 other motorists who made credit purchases after 1 p.m. It's weird that they don't have time, but I mean, that's way before there was any automated stuff like that. So I guess it's not really that weird. Baxter said, and by the way, I didn't even know there were credit cards in 1958. Baxter said he thought when he first saw the Martin picture in the newspaper that they probably had stopped at his station one time or another. But so many people stop in the course of time that he did not give it a thought that the Martins had been there the day they seemingly evaporated. Baxter keeps no copies of credit sales slips at his station, so the clue was not uncovered until December 23rd, When the gasoline bill arrived in the mail, oh, that makes sense, at the Martin home, a neighbor who was handling their mail spotted it and turned it over to the Martin's sister, Mrs. Herschel A. Dorsey at 2955 North. Isn't that weird that they just give you the address of people? Like, who cares what the address is of somebody that, it's just weird. But I'm glad they do it because, it's just so unusual now. You never see that stuff. It's hard to find an address. You have to look it up using one of the websites out there. Authorities had asked oil companies with which Martin had credit cards to shortstop any sales slips made on his card to notify them immediately, but this one slipped the machine billing mechanism before the machine was set to flag down any of Martin's purchases. The disappearance of the Martins was not reported to the sheriff's office until the night of Monday, December 8th, mostly because a hesitation to embarrass the family by reporting them missing. Martin, 54, customarily drove to and from his job at his appliance service manager at Eccles Electric Company in a company truck, leaving the family car in the garage for his wife to use, getting back and forth from her many activities. Several neighbors noticed the truck still parked in the Martin home at 7:30 a.m., the time Martin usually left for work. Carl Wyman, 1723 Northeast 56th Avenue, a next-door neighbor, was one who noticed the truck still there and thought it was odd. Okay, so now we're talking about rewards. Friends and relatives are inclined to think the family in the restaurant. Oh, they're thinking there was a sighting that they thought a family was in the restaurant. Let me see what that one says. Down here, all clues trace. To drag the river would be a prodigious and expensive task. To date, no plans have been materialized toward attempting it. Ponds along Highway 30 also have been given visual checks. Highway 30 is out towards Scappoose. That's a totally different direction. Scappoose is hell, where is that? Yeah, there it is. That's Highway 30 right here. Goes all the way up in that direction. There's all kinds of ponds there. I don't think it continues. Yeah. Yep, that's not what I wanted. Alright. The authorities have traced down hundreds of tips and have poured in since the Martins' disappearance. They've been besieged with reports of dreams, visions, and offers of help. See how psychics are just bloodsuckers like that? They wait for you to be, down and out, and they want to, get famous so they can, it just sucks. God, hate it. Relatives speak highly of the painstaking, immense, and costly job done by authorities and volunteers in checking and rechecking possible places the Martins could be. C.G. Cable Eugene, a brother of Mrs. Martin, said officers have done a wonderful job. Let's see. Waitress describes clothing. Mrs. Clara York, 38, a waitress there. Let's see. Okay, one was a report that the Martins ate at about dusk the afternoon of December 20, or it looks like December 7th, in the Paradise Snack Bar in Hood River. I guess that's, possible, I guess. Miss Clara York, 38, a waitress there, is positive a jolly family. A jolly family. What do you think they're saying, you guys? Type in a one word when somebody says a jolly family. Go ahead. What do you think they're really saying when they say that? That's almost like PC. Just type in the one word that they're really... Yeah, there you go. Shogun Love nailed it right out of the gate. No, that's not what they're saying, Lori. Yeah. No. Yeah, Charles and Shogun got it. Angela, Vineyard, Carol, Indigo, all you guys. Yeah. Yeah, heavy's probably a better term. Because everyone in their family except one is large, I guess. But hey, at least they were trying to be PC, you know, even back then. They were wonderful people, Mrs. York told the Oregonian. She wasn't too busy at the time and chatted with them, attracted by the friendliness of the girls in the family. She thinks they came in between 4:15 and 4:45 p.m. I mean, I know jolly means happy, but I think in this case, you know, it's like, you know, well, you don't call somebody that's just normal. It's always Santa Claus is jolly. Well, why is Santa Claus jolly? Well, he's a little bit bigger. And there goes Zozo with their 40-minute late answer to a question. And you know what's amazing is Zozo is never wrong, because she seems to always have the benefit of 70,000 other answers before she comes in with that. It's amazing. Her description of their clothing tallies fairly close with what the Martins were believed wearing. She thinks the family she waited on came in a car like the Martins, arriving from the east and heading west. Yeah, so they're coming back home. So they made it all the way out to Hood River. Maybe they even had the greens in the car already. She said her bill came to about $4.15 for hamburgers, French fries, milk, dessert. Man, you know that kind of detail? She remembers the girls had asked their father for soft drinks, but he insisted they have milk. Linda Ellis of 1726 Northeast 55th Avenue, a 12-year-old girl, friend of the Martin daughter, Barbara, said the daughter's insistence of milk instead of soda pop sounds like Mr. Martin. Linda has gone on outings with the Martins. Authorities are less certain than is Mrs. York that she saw the Martin family. Part of this skepticism is because they think Mrs. York might unconsciously be mixing information she had read in the newspapers about the Martins with her recollection of the family she served. However, they do not doubt her sincerity. Friends and relatives are inclined to think the family in the restaurant was the Martins. They say the Martins often stopped at restaurants for a snack, went out for a drive. A flashy, customized white Chevrolet Club Coupe abandoned at Trotter's Point. So that's still there. No, let's see. Trotter's Point, Oregon. Oh, there you go. Interesting. There we go. So that's where that car was abandoned. Okay. Let's go down to the street view there. Check it out. There's actually another road lower down there too. So that's 84 there, but what's this one down here? Oh, that's a train track. Okay, so that's Trotter's Point. And it's interesting to see what they say about the flashy, customized white Chevrolet Club Coupe abandoned at the Trotter's Point 5 miles east of Cascade Locks was another promising lead and hinted at foul play. At first, it seemed red hot when it was learned an ex-convict supposedly was driving the auto. The lead fizzled after the man was placed in Los Angeles on December 8th, as was the car's owner, and the auto seen in a Culver City, California gas station December 9th. The car still remains something of a mystery because several Cascade Locks residents are sure they saw it parked at the pullout on the westbound side of the road. Okay, is there a, how about right there? Does that look, that's Trotter's Point. I see some sort of a little pull-out thing. That's, no, but that's westbound on that side. Right there, maybe? Maybe they pulled in, it was right there, maybe. Anything else like that? about right there? Is that something that... Thanks, truck. Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that might be... I just saw it. Oh, right there, maybe? Maybe we'll just say that. The car was towed away December 18th on the orders of state police and now is in Hood River Garage. Unexplained is why it was abandoned with the key in the ignition and locked except for an open wind wing window. The auto had some gas in it and was drivable. Fingerprints photographed on the car may solve the mystery. They have been sent to the FBI in Washington. Foul play doubted. Another foul play lead which petered out was a report by a Boise, Idaho special policeman that he saw an Oregon car resembling the Martins parked at a gravel pit with two young men sleeping in it. He failed to jot down the license number. At first, it was reported that the car he saw was a 1954 model, but upon being contacted by the Oregonian, he said the auto was a 1949 station wagon. Okay. Another fizzling lead involved a report that a man on the Washington side of the Bridge of the Gods had been watching Highway 30 with binoculars. And why would you be doing that? Who the hell watches a highway with binoculars in the middle of the winter in 1958? And saw two cars collide. One similar to the Martins reportedly slid into the river after the crash. Well, Bridge of the Gods is right in, let's see. Yeah, hold on a second. Trying to figure out where I put these pins that I've got. Don't see it. Oh, there it is. Wow, I've got a ton of stuff that I put in the wrong spot. I gotta move it. Hold on. Alright, so now let's go to the Bridge of the Gods. Hey, thanks, Carol Kiesau. Yes, everybody, and now we are a third of the way through the month, and as we always do on this channel, we raise funds every single day, so during the month we can donate money, and you're also supporting my channel, obviously, and at the end of the month we're going to try to get our Addison County Addison County Doe case completely funded, but they're already going forward with it because I will send it in even if it comes out of a whole different account. I don't really care. I sort of have this weird it's such a great feeling to be part of cases like that where you're actually you're paying for having a case solved, basically, because there's towns out there that do not have the funds at all, and it's freaks like us that can make a difference. Bridge of the Gods. See, Bridge of the Gods is right there. And I think it's actually a rock. Let's see, does it give it any other pins? So I guess that is it right there. So he was on this side of the river, and he saw somebody on Highway 30, which is... Oh, I guess Highway 30 does continue on. I thought 30 just went over by Scappoose, but 84 and 30, I guess, are pretty much the same thing. Alright. Without any evidence of foul play. Okay, let's go to that. Let me go to that last one again now. Where is he? Foul play dotted. Another fizzling. Highway 30 with binoculars. That afternoon, December 7th, saw two cars collide. One similar to the Martins reportedly slid into the river after the crash. A check of state police records showed there had been an accident at the spot, and one car did resemble the Martins, but it was a Packard, not a Ford, and did not plunge into the river. Okay, so that's where the Bridge of Gods is, so it's irrelevant. In addition to the full-scale investigation of the possibility the Martins met with an accident, sheriff's officers are also are maintaining a close watch on the Martins' bank accounts and mail for clues that might point to foul play. All right, so anyways, you can tell those are basically all the things that we had talked about on previous, on the previous show. Okay, then we're going to January 6th. And now they bring a sonar device out there, portable sonar and instrument to probe water depths and record irregularities or irregular objects on water bottom, was flown to Portland Monday night by the Marine Department of Bendix Aviation Corp. North Hollywood, California, to be used to search for the missing Ken Martin family. Announcement of loan of the instrument was made Monday. The company made so anyways, it's amazing they can come up with that large of a story on just explaining that they're going to use sonar. Then on January 9th, search group probes river. It looks like it says Batman. I don't know, Batman, skin divers, and men in helicopters joined today in a concentrated effort to determine whether Ken Martin and his family, missing for more than a month, may have plunged to their deaths in the Columbia River. The Army engineers lowered the vast pool stretching for 40, I don't know if it says miles behind Bonneville Dam in an effort to help. The pool surface was dropped 5 feet by opening dam gates. It was hoped this would expose a car that might have plunged into the river from one of the highways bordering it. In addition, the visual scanning of the lower river, searchers hoped an electronic depth gauge which records on a graph a diagram of the river bottom would tell them, should the Martin car be there. Martin and his wife and 3 daughters set out from Portland on December 7th to get some Christmas greens. They did not return. Widespread searches on the mountain roads and deep into canyons brought no trace of them. All that is known is that Martin signed a slip for 5 gallons of gasoline at Cascade Locks near Bonneville Dam. So they have the slip, they just didn't know exactly what time. Alright, then on January 12th, Martin family's search enters its 6th week. The search of the missing Kenneth Martin family enters its 6th week today, with still only one real clue to the family's travels the day they disappeared. A search of the Columbia River below Bonneville Dam has been called off after weekend search efforts above the dam failed to turn up any sign of the Martins or the station wagon they were driving the day they went out to look for Christmas greens. That was December 7th, and the 5 Martins have not been heard from since. The only solid clue to to their disappearance is a credit card slip showing they bought 5 gallons of gasoline. Water at dams upstream from Bonneville has been turned loose, raising the lake behind Bonneville Dam back to its normal level. The Army engineers had to lower the levels of the mighty... that's amazing to go through that kind of effort. I mean, they would never do that now, I don't think. To have the dam actually lowered, I mean, the water, it's crazy. So January 14th, 2 more leads in Martin case. Authorities said today they have 2 more possible leads in the disappearance of the 5-member Ken Martin family. Student pilot reported he saw a light-colored car in the Willamette River December 14th while on a flight between Oregon City and Aurora. The Martins were driving a station wagon. This one turns out to be bogus because the Willamette River is completely... I mean, it's not even in the same direction. And they wouldn't be anywhere near the... 2 Martin clues fizzle. 2 more leads fizzled Wednesday in the search for the missing... I mean, I didn't even collect them all. But every day there was clue fizzles. I mean, like all these different things that people turn in and they just fizzle. I mean, imagine if they had to do that in the Delphi case. Back then they would let people know when different attempts were made at various reports. And the Delphi case, you would have thousands of fizzled. Thanks for wasting our time. Fizzled. Thanks for wasting our time. Fizzle. The FBI said extensive laboratory examination showed that a glove found near Cascade Locks never had been worn by Mrs. Martin. So remember that glove that was found by Cascade Locks? The FBI came back and said it was never worn by Mrs. Martin. Deputies earlier had said the black glove was a promising lead because it was near Cascade Locks that the family purchased gasoline December 7th. That was the day Martin, his wife, and their 3 young daughters vanished. Now we're going to February 3rd. Chips of red paint. So this one's kind of, it's interesting. Chips of red paint studied in Martin case. Sheriff's officer said today chips of red paint found near a cliff over a deep backwater 4 miles east of Bingen, Washington, would be sent to the FBI. Let's see where Bingen, Washington. So 4 miles east of Bingen. Thanks, Kathy Friedenmaker. Boom. So 4 miles east. So now they're kind of almost across the stream from Memaloose Park. Yeah, so you're right in this area. It will be checked to see if they might be a clue to the disappearance December 7th of the 5-member Ken Martin family of Portland. And then 2 days later, paint not from car. A new clue which briefly aroused hopes in the strange disappearance of the Ken Martin family of Portland was wiped off the books today as another false lead. The FBI laboratory report revealed Wednesday that chips of red paint found a month ago on a cliff near Bingen, Washington, did not come from the Martins' red and white station wagon. Collapse of the clue again left authorities without a lead. And then March 17th. No, that last one was March 5th, not February 5th. So it was literally a month and 2 days later when they were able to say that, yeah, that wasn't the paint. And here they say a sleeping bag found floating in the Columbia River here may be a clue due to the disappearance of the 5-member Ken Martin family. The family vanished after starting from their Portland home in search for Christmas greens. Ott and Johnson said they found the bag on the Washington side of the river across from the 82nd Avenue boat moorage at the edge of Portland. When the boys returned home with the bag, George's mother called the sheriff's office. Graven said he intended to talk with the young men later today. Yeah, this is the part here. It says, Graven said 2 young men reported finding the bag floating in the Columbia encased in a plastic cover with the name Ken Martin printed across the cover in white paint. But they said they threw away that. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? Come on, people. Yeah, I don't know. Sleeping bag clue veiled. Uncertainty Wednesday veiled a sleeping bag police said may have belonged to a missing Portland family of 5. Police said they had failed to trace a laundry mark on the bag and added they had no idea whether it belonged to Mr. and Mrs. Ken Martin. The Martins and their 3 young daughters vanished December 7th after setting out to find a Christmas tree. Police said a friend of the family related that the bag resembled one belonging to one of the daughters. 2 teenage boys said they found the bag floating in the Columbia here Monday, encased in a cover that bore the name Ken Martin in sticky white paint. The cover the boys said was thrown away. Well, I mean, you know, if it said Ken Martin on it and there was proof of it, then wow, that would be interesting. Articles of clothing found in Hood River County last weekend, that's on that same stretch in there, Highway 30 there, probably are not the property of the missing Ken Martin family. So there you go. Another clue fizzled. And April 13th, clue fizzles in Martin case. The clothing found last weekend in Hood River County was not from the missing Ken Martin family, Multnomah County Sheriff deputy said. Yeah, so that's even 4 days after the last one, so they wanted to say it again. The guy must have missed out on the story. This is the latest of a long series of clues to fizzle in the search for Mr. and Mrs. Martin. Yep. That is fizzle, fizzle, fizzle. That's all it is. Martin's seen in Carolina. No. A night watchman says he saw the missing Ken Martin family Sunday. John H. Rayner of Durham, North Carolina, said he changed the tire for a family in a green and white station wagon. Well, theirs is white, it's tan and red. Later, after reading a story about the disappearance of the family and seeing pictures of the couple, Rayner said he recognized the man and woman in the station wagon as Mr. and Mrs. Martin. Police and the FBI Monday said they had been unable to substantiate the report. Yeah, I think it's totally bogus. Yeah. Martin's box open but lacked clues. A safe deposit box that belonged to the missing Ken Martin was opened here Thursday, but it failed to yield a clue to the family's disappearance. Mr. and Mrs. Ken Martin and their 3 young daughters left their Portland home December 7th for an outing and never returned. An intensive search failed to yield a trace of them. So they opened up the safety deposit box to see. I mean, that's another clue that they're not out there. This is April 19th of 1959. And that's their son that was in the military, and then he was going to school in New York. And this is the family that's missing. That's the house right there. And the house is right here. Still there right now. It looks exactly the same. It's weird how somebody wanted this house blocked out, because you can do that. But anyways, that's the Martin house, and you can see it. See, everything's exactly the same, just painted a little differently. Same chimney, everything right there. Yeah, so they're saying so it's amazing how many huge stories they put out on it. All clues have been exhausted. Donald waits in New York. That's the son. You wait as Donald Martin waits in New York, helpless. He is the only Martin not among the missing. He was not home that Sunday to join his parents and sisters on their drive. Donald, 28, a pharmacist mate in the Navy, attached to the Marine. He probably would have lived, though, and then he'd be able to tell the story because he's in the Navy. I'm sure he can swim. Hey, welcome, Billy Juliana. I was hoping I didn't have to do the jail ski, like my jail deal or the dogs, because I don't have. The dog camera isn't working, so I'm just gonna have to rely on you guys. All right, so thank you. All right, their clothing hung in their closets where they left them. Martin was a big man, 5'10", 200 pounds. He was cheerful, outgoing, and trusted employee of the appliance company. Every Christmas for the last 5, Ken Martin organized the neighborhood for the holiday. He and his daughter would go up the block, affixing large striped candy canes among the plastic to the neighboring houses. Some families went along with the Martins' plans, some didn't. The Martins did all the work. They put up the candy canes and, after the holidays, removed and stored them in their garage. They liked to call the street Candy Cane Lane, or Candy Lane. Let's see. The first tantalizing clue. These are Mrs. Evans' words, and they later gave the police their first clue, or first half clue, which, like others to come, was tantalizing. In Portland, the phrase "up the highway" means, to many people, up the highway which skirts the Columbia River and leads to spectacular mountains and gorges and greenery. Did the Martins literally mean up the highway? Or, yeah, it's obvious. Mrs. Welsh called and extended the dinner invitation. We know about the dinner invitation. They declined to go. They were going to go up the river. Probably left the house. The Evansons left. Sometime after 1 p.m., the Martins got into their 1954 station wagon. So they think it was after 1, not 12:30 like I was thinking. They weren't seen by the neighbor. Let's see. For Mrs. York fixed the time of their departure from the restaurant at 4:15 p.m. So that kind of makes sense. Like you're done getting your greenery. You stop for a snack because it's kind of getting late and everybody's hungry, and you're probably not gonna get home in time to make a dinner or something like that. And so they stop in there, get something to eat. And wow, okay, I think that's something that probably happened. I think she remembers it correctly. One man walked 83 miles along the bank of the Columbia from the Dalles to Portland, hunting for any signs of a car having gone into the river. He found nothing. Clues? Yes, there were clues. A car reported stolen in California was found December 8th, abandoned near Cascade Locks. A glove found near the car on the highway was checked on the possibility it might have been Mrs. Martin's. It wasn't. Okay. It's weird. This picture here, this looks like that could be today, instead of 1959. And he's looking at the entire family right there. The same picture that's right here. And that's I guess that's the son right there. Here is the lone boy in the family which vanished last December. Donald Martin, 28, is a naval pharmacist mate attached to the U.S. Marines at Fort Schuyler, New York. Okay, now we're going to May 4th. So now things start get kind of interesting here. Look at that. Boom. Holy moly. A body found in debris at Bonneville Dam on the Columbia River today was tentatively identified as that of another member of the missing 5-member Kenneth Martin family of Portland. The family vanished last December 7th. The body of Sue Martin, 11, was found Sunday in the Columbia River near Camas. Hey, thanks, Lee D. I'm not a very good salesperson, so if you guys can help out, that'd be great. If not, you can't. The body of Sue Martin, 11, was found Sunday in the Columbia River near Camas, Washington. Today, a body found at the dam 22 miles upstream from Camas was tentatively identified as that of 14-year-old Barbara Martin. The body found in the spillway above the dam was clad in blue jeans and a gray sweatshirt similar to the clothing worn by Barbara. Thanks, Lee D. and Linda Howell. A pathologist reported today there was no trace of foul play in the death of Sue Martin, and that death was apparently by drowning. Thanks, Mary Glaviano. Other members of the look how long this took, like 5 months later. Other members of the missing family are their father, Kenneth, 54. And here's what you would say to yourself. Wow, well, if a body was in the water for 5 months, how would it be where all their clothing's on and everything's just kind of normal? They are badly decomposed. Other members of the missing family are father, Kenneth, his wife, Barbara Jean, and another daughter, Virginia, 13. The badly decomposed body, identified as that of the youngest member of the Martin family, was found Sunday in the Columbia River near Camas, Washington, a few miles upstream from Portland on the Washington shore of the stream. Yeah, so I mapped this out. Let me get the... So here's where Virginia was found. Or let's go to the other one. This is where Susan was found, right here. So Susan's found right here in this little slough right here, the Camas Slough right there, which is way down the stream from where Virginia was found. But interestingly, she was found right here by the dam. And like she was trapped in debris. I don't know if it was over here or over here, but wasn't allowed to go down. So that means that when they got in the water, it was definitely up in this direction. Hey, thank you, Sarita, Ludi Price, and Eugenie. So that means the car went in the water, definitely upstream, which is up this direction. And remember that guy saw a car crash off of Highway 30? Man, that kind of almost made sense. They also were last spotted in Hood River, right? And this isn't Hood River. This is Cascade Locks. That's where they bought their gas. But then a woman that lives in Hood River, which is right here, or doesn't live there, but I don't know if she lives there or not, but she worked at a restaurant there. This is where they apparently got something to eat. And then they would have been driving home when it was getting dark on this highway here. And then who knows what happened, where the car might have veered off into the water at some point. Yeah, I was going to look at this one. This one's really... So that's the dam right here. A body tentatively identified by teeth as that of Virginia, second daughter of Kenneth Martin family, was recovered shortly before noon Monday, floating in the Columbia River above the dam spillway. So I guess we can go down to... I don't think there's a way to... Is there anything like a... Oh, look at all these people did the 360 here. Okay, there's the dam right over there. Thanks, Cheyenne R. Okay, so there is the... It actually looks exactly the same. Look at that. See those little... that roof and all that? So that's right here. So that's the dam, and it's much higher on the other side. And so that's got to be the spot. But look at the turbulence there. So that means, Virginia got trapped there. And I don't believe... I think the youngest daughter is the one that was found downstream, if I remember right. But anyways, let's go through this. And that's them actually pulling the body out of the water in that image right there. Isn't that crazy? Right there. Wow. Dennis saves teeth check with records. The speeded up spring runoff of the Columbia River gave up a second body of the missing Martin family, that of Virginia Ann Martin, 12, the middle daughter. It was discovered lodged against Bonneville Dam. It is thought possible that the river runoff speed has almost doubled in the last month by Bonneville Dam. Measurements has finally broken up the missing Martin station wagon, which disappeared last December 7th and is now believed to be in the river. It was seen at a gasoline station at Cascade Locks on that day. The first body found was recovered from Camas Slough, that's what we were just showing you, but it was 25 miles downstream from the dam on Sunday. That was the youngest child, Susan Margaret, 10. And so, let's see, what do we got? It's interesting that the two smallest kids are out of the vehicle, or whatever the deal is, right? This is Tuesday. Yeah, so they were just found right around this time here. This is the 5th on a Tuesday, so 4th would be Monday, Sunday would be the 3rd. So they were found within a day or two of each other. Although both bodies were decomposed, listen to this. See, this is interesting right here. Watch. Hey, let's see. Although both bodies were decomposed, their reasonably intact condition, with all limbs present, has led to some conjecture that they could not have been tossed about loose in the water for all those 5 months. I totally agree with that. Coroner Paul Milan of Clark County, Washington, said Monday an autopsy of Susan's body performed by Dr. Charles Larson, Tacoma pathologist, indicated it had been held down in cold, deep water for a considerable length of time. If the bodies were imprisoned in an automobile, that could account for their being deep in the water so long, but it's also a known fact that drowning bodies stay down longer in cold water and do not float until they get into the warmer temperatures and decomposition releases gas. Dental charts kept by Dr. E.A. Waterman, the Martin family dentist, matches the fillings in the teeth of the bodies. Susan, the younger, had 6 fillings. Virginia had 8. A lot of candy over there at the Martin's residence. Electrician sees the body. Clarence J. Height of Dotson, veteran electrician for the U.S. Army engineer at Bonneville, was out on the spillway side of the long section of the dam north of Bradford Island, checking equipment on gantry cranes when he noticed the second body Monday. So that would have been, that's the previous day, right? This was about 11:15 a.m. It was in trash resting against the spillway gates, of which are about 10 feet to permit the heavy flow of water to go down river. Upon arrival of County Deputy Coroner Ted Lucas, Height used a crane to recover the body from the water. Monday, the river flow was 348,000 cubic feet a second, much faster than a month ago when it was only 193. Height said it was the theory of men of the dam that the Martin station wagon probably went into the river near Cascade Locks, possibly at the Cascade Locks Canal, where there was then enough current to carry it out some distance. The river there and in many other places is very deep. Yeah, it's over 100 feet deep in some of these places. So here we go. See, this makes sense right here. The speeded up flow of the river in recent days probably had tumbled about in the rocks, causing the glass to smash and permit the bodies to be washed out of the car. The family customarily used the car seat belts. It is possible the body of the first girl found, Sue, went through water of the open spillway gates or through the ice sluiceway, which is through on the upstream side of the powerhouse section of the dam to a funnel ice and floating debris and dump into the river at the south end of the dam. I wonder if that's what that other part right here is, right over here. Or maybe so that's the main part of the dam. So maybe it was this thing. Kind of looks like a sleuth-ish, you know, just kind of the way they're describing it. Yeah, so I bet you this is the actual dam, I guess. Okay. Authorities pressed a search of the dam. Let's see, hold on. The body of Virginia was clad in dark blue jeans, rolled up to special pusher length, a white nylon blouse buttoned down the front, and white sweatshirt. The body was brought to the Multnomah County Coroner's Office, where Dr. Waterman made his identification. Virginia had the darkest hair of the three Martin girls, and what was left on the head of the body appeared dark. There was an M&M candy wrapper in the pocket of the jeans. Look at how we get all that information. I mean, there's no way today they would ever do that. Coroner Milan said Monday an autopsy of Susan's body by Dr. Larson showed death was caused by drowning. He said the death occurred, I mean, that's so terrifying too, you know, not more than 2 hours after the girl had eaten. Wow, so that means there was still food that was in her stomach that they could determine. And the body showed evidence of having been held down in cold, deep water for a considerable length of time. And what that, they just mean because it was more preserved than you would think it would be. Alright, so here's a map. And this is how I was able to get each of the spots, because this is even though it's a crude map, let me show you how it's pretty accurate for 1950 something. You know, so you look at this one, and you know, this part right here that goes up right there is right here. If I move it out to about here, it makes more sense. Thank you, Jessica Schubach. So that's there. Right here is where there's Reed Island. Reed Island is, hold on. Yeah, right here. That's Reed Island right there. Then it goes up. And then this right here is Lady Island right there. And then it looks like in that little slough, and they said the Camas Slough, right here, and that's exactly what that's called. So her body was found, Susan, the smallest one, whose body made it through. I mean, that's pretty amazing that she was over there, though. You know? And I guess it would be, I wonder how, maybe it just sort of floated down this way and then current. I'm not sure how that would have happened. How would she get over there? I guess right there, maybe you could kind of, because the water flows this direction. Thanks, Jessica Schubach. Flows in that direction. So I don't know if it went like this and then somehow tidal, because there is tide in the Willamette River. Maybe it forced it back that way. Don't know. And then this one, now it's showing which dam it was near. So I guess we could go and look at that again. And it's this one. Yeah, just how I have it on there. You can see there's 1, 2. This looks like this might be newer, this thing. Because back then it only looked like there was these 2 portions right here. So this might be something that they added later. Arrows mark the spots in the Columbia River 25 miles apart where bodies of 2 young members of the Ken Martin family were found. The body of Susan Margaret 10 was in Camas Slough, about 1 mile from Camas. Now, here's the thing. You know what's interesting in Wikipedia? They found a reference to I think it was a ship. Were pulling up their anchor on May 1st. And they had something really heavy on the anchor, and then it came off. And it was right there, right upstream from the dam. And, or I don't know how far upstream, because I can't find the actual document. But I think that was it. I think that anchor broke through the window, caught onto the vehicle, and then 2 of the girls drifted out of the vehicle. And then the car sank to the bottom, and they're still trapped in there. I think that vehicle is still at the bottom of the Columbia River, which is 100 and something feet deep in some of those areas with these massive sturgeon that swim around in there. I mean, hell, you could put a saddle on them and get going. It was Camas Slough, about 1 mile from Camas. At left and was recovered Sunday. The body of Virginia Ann, 12, was found above the spillway of Bonneville Dam on Monday. It was first identified that of Barbara Lee. Yeah, see, they made a mistake in that first article. That was Virginia. And on the 6th, Martin's search fails to locate last 3 victims. No more bodies from the missing Ken Martin family were found in the Columbia River. 3 members of the family still are missing, presumably still caught in their automobiles. It could be that the holes that were broken into the car were just big enough for her body, the 2 smallest children, to get out. You know, the flow forced them out the windows. The adults, and it could have been too that maybe the parents had seatbelts on. I could imagine, here's what I could imagine. As soon as the car hits the water, everyone would take off their seatbelts, right? But maybe the driver, Martin, when it hit, maybe he got knocked out or something. And, maybe the wife, who knows, right? Because their head would slam right into the front of on the dashboard. And then it would sink down, and then maybe the kids in the back took off their seatbelts and tried to do something, but they couldn't open up the car because of the pressure. I mean, those vehicles are made of basically, really heavy metal back then, and really, that probably sunk like a rock, just straight down. Even though there was, if you had all the windows rolled up, then it would probably float for a while until water got inside, and then it would go down. So anyways, the family disappeared while on a drive last December 7th. The body of Susan Martin 10 was found. The body was found Monday. Doctors said they had drowned and the bodies had been in cool water for a long time. Searchers, including skin divers, probed areas where roads run alongside the river above Bonneville Dam Monday without finding the car or the bodies of Martin, his wife, or other daughter Barbara 14. So even if the car went in the water and it floated for a while, it would go quite a ways downstream before it actually hit the bottom and sort of settled. That's the thing. But think how absolutely terrifying that would have been for the Martin children as the car is sinking and they're still alive, and now it's pitch dark because it's 100 feet down and it's dark outside, and it's just, freaking nightmare is what it is. Sheriff Rupert Gilmouth said today nothing was found in the Cascade Locks Canal to indicate that the Ken Martin family station wagon plunged in the water there last December 7th. So that's Hood River. Today, nothing was found in the Cascade Locks Canal. So, alright, so this is Cascade Locks right here. And so they're talking about this area here. I think the car probably went in the water closer up to Hood River here. Like after they left eating, and they're gonna drive on the main road. You know, although you do have these other roads that sort of go on the side weirdly. Maybe those were all there were back then, but you're gonna be on here, and then there's certain parts where you could tumble in, but you don't often get near the water. But how about like right here, someplace like this, but there's a railroad track there. I don't know how long those have been there. You're coming down, and the railroad obviously are going to go all the way along. So at what point, maybe it cuts under at some, and we don't know when the railroad tracks were put there. Okay, now the railroad cuts off, and now it seems like it's going to be after that. If that, oh, now it cuts back in again. Shoot. Yeah. And there's that Trotter's Point. So it could have gone off of one of these and tumbled into the water, and that would probably knock a lot of people out. But they said the children died of drowning. Martin Kind of You quilt. So a water-soaked quilt, which may belong to the missing Ken Martin family of Portland, was found Sunday in the Columbia River near Bradford Island, just below Bonneville Dam. There it is. Oh, so that's Bradford Island right here. This little I mean, yeah, that definitely. So maybe like right here, let's say. Because Virginia was found right there. I could easily see a quilt being right there. Deputy John Brown said it was to be shown to relatives of the Martin family today to determine if it came from the station wagon driven by Ken Martin. That was June 1st, 1959. And then June 13th, Multnomah County Sheriff's officers opened a new search in connection with the long missing Ken Martin family. But this time it was for the driver of a taxi cab. A woman reported to the sheriff's office last week that a taxi cab was in front of the Portland home of the Martins on December 8th, the day after they vanished. Sheriff officers also reported that Don Martin, 28, told them his father's income tax returns, other papers, and savings books were missing. Martin returned to Portland last week for his first visit since the family vanished. Martin, only surviving member of the family, is now you start thinking, ooh, wow, so did Ken Martin kill his entire family and then he went home in a cab, and then he grabbed all of his savings? And that's what an article like that makes you think. Authorities check car. Authorities here Tuesday inspected an automobile found on the Columbia River, believed the only in which the Ken Martin family of Portland disappeared last December 7th, but it was not the Martin family car. A passenger on a train spotted the car and reported it. Deputies said it was a Ford between 9 and 11 years old. There were no bodies in it. Deputies are trying to trace it. Mr. and Mrs. Ken Martin and their 3 daughters failed to return from a Sunday hunt for Christmas greens. Columbia car, not Martin's. Hey, Chloe, blue. A car, first believed to be the missing automobile in which the Ken Martin family vanished last December 7th, was found in the Columbia River near here, but authorities said it was not the Martins' car. Alright, so that one, again, same kind of story. Then December 8th, this is the anniversary, or a day after the anniversary. Let's see if this does a nice summation. What happened to the Martin family? A year to the day after Mr. and Mrs. Ken Martin and their 3 daughters disappeared on a drive to cut Christmas greens, the mystery remains unsolved. On the anniversary Monday, Sheriff Francis Lambert received from Gray and Lister, Portland attorney for the Martin estate, a letter for formally withdrawing the offer of a $1,000 reward for information leading to the discovery of the Ken Martin family. Hey, no problem, Cindy Leon. Only one supposition may be made safely. That is their car lies on the Columbia River or one of the tributaries above Bonneville Dam. This is based on the findings on May 5th of the body of Virginia Ann Martin, 12, lodged against the dam. The day before the body of Susan Margaret, 10, was found in Camas. So when they found Susan's body, now you're not really sure, but the dam gives you a place where you know it's higher than that because the dam stopped her. But when Susan was found, you didn't know if it was after the dam or anything like that. But now you can move up further. So they were actually able to, for sure that the car didn't go in the water anywhere near this area. So you can actually wipe out this, let me just do a square here. You could take something. Hey, thank you, Jessica Schubach. You could actually go like this. Can I do a polygon? Can I just draw it? Let's see, how does that work? I've never used this. Oh yeah, I guess I have sometime. You can wipe out this entire area as being a spot where the car went in the water. This is all ruled out and further, right? So you can keep going downstream. Yeah, so it's definitely not in there. It was kind of weird, my circle yesterday found, this is right where Virginia was found, but the car went in the water inside my big circle here. Probably more like, I would say, if I was going to redo the circle now, I would actually delete it, and then I would put the circle, well, I can't undo that, so, yeah. Anyways, let me get this circle. Now I would say, I would put it about right here, and it's smaller. It's like this. And that's what I would say. Thanks, Alifair M. Appreciate it. So there you go. All this is ruled out. I guess this area here you can't rule out, so I should have made it a little bit bigger, but can I move it? Yeah. Somewhere in that area. But I would actually have included that. I guess I need to move this up into here. And let's do that again. Right there to here. There we go. There you go. So all this is ruled out. The car went in the water somewhere around here. Because I actually believe the Hood River restaurant story, don't you guys? I do. I think that's something that happened. Okay. This is based on the findings on May 5th of the body of Virginia Ann Martin, 12, lodged against the dam. The day before, the body of Susan Margaret, 10, was found in Camas. No trace has been discovered, however, of Mr. and Mrs. Martin and their third daughter, Barbara Lee, 14, or of their station wagon. When the girls' bodies were found, police theorized that the spring freshet in the Columbia had broke, probably the water just, I think they were talking about this, like the spring runoff, the water, it gets really rapid. Those rivers aren't safe. It's like the Willamette's a really dangerous river. It's really cold. It's way colder than you would want it to be. When I was in college, there was this basketball player on the, I'll show you this randomly. It's pretty interesting story, actually. So down in Eugene here, and I just have to find I-5. And where's the stadium? Right there. The soccer field. So there's the soccer field. Okay, yeah, right there. All right. Well, see, this was pretty crazy. When I was in college, I used to go fly fishing down here, right here. It looks exactly the same. I remember. This is 1980. We're talking 35 years ago. Okay, but right in here, you could put like a nymph in there, and I caught like an 18-inch rainbow right inside this stream right here. But there was this basketball player with the last name, I think his name was like Jesse Nash or something like that. He was a freshman on the University of Oregon basketball team, and he was really good. And he was on an inner tube, and he fell out. He didn't know how to swim, but for some reason he was on an inner tube. And then he fell in the water, and then nobody could find him. And I had a guy in my dorm that was a search and rescue guy, and he was on my dorm floor and everything. He dove in and was crawling along the rocks, pulling himself along, looking for him. And eventually they find him in the water, and they pull him up, and he died. He was right here, and it was weird because it was like 2 or 3 months after my brother died, and it was just so weird to see another dead person, like within that short amount of time. I think might have been right here on these rocks. I can't remember. It felt like it was closer to over here, though. It's so cold, too. You fall in the water, and it's just absolutely... God, that's so crazy. It hasn't changed at all. That's exactly what it looked like. He was found right in there. And just as a side note, remember I told you a story with the Tyler Burrell from what's that show called? Modern Family. He and I were we were literally like best friends for like a year, or maybe that wasn't even that long. I think it was 6 months. But my brother died, and then I just went into a shell and changed schools and everything went to hell. But this is where we were fishing right here. I caught a huge, like a 19-inch native rainbow right here. And I don't know if you ever watched that show, but, I was going to stay fishing. And I said, hey, you want to take this fish back for me? And then he's walking back over here, and I see him way over here, and he falls into the water. And then he comes up with only the head of the fish in his hands. That's all he had in his hands. It was just absolutely exactly what he does on the show. Yeah, it does. It does paralyze you, but yeah, it was hilarious. It's pretty amazing. There's fish in there. It's such a crappy Well, maybe it's because it's Eugene, but a lot of neat little spots in here. But anyways, pretty good model they had on there. Little aside story there. Yeah, I told that story before, but let me get back to the... Now, when the girls' bodies were found, police theorized that the spring runoff in the Columbia had broken the car and that the small bodies had washed out of it, but that the larger ones remained lodged. That's exactly what I think. All right, so that was on December 8th. And we've got an image of some... Yeah, here's another image of the family on December 10th. That's them right there. Yarg. R.M. Bell. Yarg. Yeah. Thank you. So there's the family, the jolly family of the Martin. Okay, and then I found an article in June, on June 29th, 1960. That came out. Lost Martin family car to be sought. Something sharp cut a fisherman's lead sinker in deep water near Coburg Beach. Let's see where that is. Where is Coburg Beach? There it is. Come on, be in that area. Be inside of it. Oh, just above it. Wouldn't that be interesting? But why, if they ate in Hood River, why would they continue out that way at such a late time? But it was near there, so I guess it could be right there. You know, we don't know. So let's say... Something sharp cut a fisherman's lead sinker in deep water near Coburg Beach. Let's see. I mean, but there's probably, you know, other cars in there. Cut lead sinker. So somewhere right around in there. It could have been metal on a submerged car that did it. Yeah, it could have been aliens too, right? I mean, at that point, I mean, you know, you're out fishing, something cuts your line, you don't go, hey, it's a car, you know, unless it's, you know, right around that time. Because the long missing Ken Martin family car is presumed to be in the river somewhere above Bonneville Dam, Sheriff Rupert Gilmouth said he would try to probe it in a week or two with aid of a coast and geodetic survey barge due here about then. An effort Tuesday night resulted only in snapping something, he said. But it was not known whether the object snagged was what cut the sinker or was something else. It seemed like, I mean, that is really just grasping at straws on that one. Supposition that it could be the Martin car was just a shot in the dark. Mr. and Mrs. Yeah, there you go. Almost exactly the same thing I just said. Mr. and Mrs. Ken Martin and their 3 children drove up the river from Portland on December 7th, and we know for sure that their bodies went into the water north. Or at least one of them, you know, for sure, right? Were found in the river, one near Camas and one at Bonneville Dam. No trace of the other or of the car has been found. The area to be searched with the barge arrives. It is heavy equipment suitable for work, the sheriff said. Okay, so that was 1960 in June. So we're already a year and a half later. And then February 8th, 1961. I thought this was pretty interesting. I don't know why it's just now coming out, but a report that screams were heard at Cascade Locks the evening of Ken Martin's family of Portland vanished, December 7th, 1958, has revived interest in the disappearance. Martin, his wife, and 3 daughters vanished while on an outing. The Oregon Journal said it got a letter Tuesday from a Camas, Washington resident who was parked with a companion at Cascade Locks that evening. Probably a lover's lane situation. The letter said they saw a car proceed under railroad tracks. Oh, now we gotta go check that one out. Where is this? Cascade Locks. I think that's right here. And remember, the railroad tracks were going along the river. And is that what is that? That's not a, that's just a, that's the bridge. That's a toll bridge you have to go over. Sucks. I just went over this the other day. I mean, actually, this is the Bridge of the Gods, I think. No, that's right. It's a toll bridge. So you gotta do a toll on the way over and on the way back. So let's try to, now that we're here, let's see if we can figure out exactly what this person's saying. The Oregon Journal said it got a letter Tuesday from a Camas, Washington resident who was parked with a companion at Cascade Locks that evening. The letter said they saw a car proceed under railroad tracks leading to the old river locks. So that's still something? Old river locks? Ugh, jeez. Guess not. That's Cascade Locks. And they were in Cascade Locks and they saw, and here we go, this is railroad tracks. And, so maybe screams heard somewhere around here, maybe? I don't know, we'll just throw it out there. Thanks, Gloria Batari. Leading to the old river lock moments later, the writer said, they heard screams. That's interesting. Because it sounds like the car was like in the wrong place or something. They saw a car proceed under railroad tracks. So how do you go under? Let's find where you can go under the railroad tracks. Is it? Saw a car go under railroad tracks. Is there anything that? So how would a car go under the railroad tracks? I wonder if that's just an error. Oh, right there maybe? Now that does go under the railroad tracks. And then moments later they heard a scream. God, wouldn't that be weird if it just kind of went into there or something? Jeez. I think I'm going to move that pin. I think that's got to be the only spot that they're talking about. So something like that. Because that's still Cascade Locks right here. Let's see if there's any other spots in Cascade Locks that goes over something. It goes under this one. And then, yeah, I don't really see anything. I think that's it. I'm getting dizzy. Alright, so I think that's probably where it was, you know. The screams. But look at that. Look at how that could just... I mean, if you just do something wrong, you're right in the water right there. And then, look at this. The water goes in the water there, but it's really deep. And it goes way down, and then it's stuck for a while. Then a barge comes by or something and breaks it up with the anchor. And then the two girls come out of the car at that point. And one of them gets stuck here, and the other one continues on. Now we have the frozen situation on Google Earth again. Hold on. Hopefully it'll just open again if I close it. Ah, screw it. I'm just going to close it. There we go. Now we'll try opening it again. Hopefully it opens. If it doesn't open, it doesn't open. And then we're screwed. But I guess we could use... might have to use Google Maps. Actually, there's a Google Earth on the internet. Oops, that's not it. Probably should start using this one anyway. Now let me try to close something down using the task manager. There might be some remnants of Google Earth open. Wow, how did you guys know? Wow, they put us right in. How did that happen? That's crazy. That's Google Earth on the internet, and somehow it put us right where we do the flybys. Doesn't have the same commands though, unfortunately. So it doesn't work the same. That's why I don't like it. What are the odds of that though, huh? Okay, there it is. Google Earth is still running. In task. Alright, so this is the Cascade Locks area again. Some of the stuff's pretty cool the way the online version works. Cascade Locks, and we were looking at the train tracks. See, this doesn't move the same, but there's the train tracks, and then right there, that's the spot we were just talking about. What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The body of the fish? Do you just do that stuff on purpose? I don't even know what that means. What happened to the body of the fish, please? What fish? Oh, you mean after he came up with the head, it floated downstream. That's the story from 20 minutes ago. Oh my god. Zozo, are you on rewind mode? Yeah, you mean the body of the fish that Tyler Burrell, he only had the head in his hand. Well, it floated downstream and I had nothing for dinner that night. How do you like that? I think she's on rewind mode. Has to be. And in 20 minutes she'll hear that. Oh boy. Whew. Wow. That wasn't even, it's not even a part of the story though, Zozo. It's just, that was just a side story. What does it have to do with the Martin family? Alright, let's see. So this is the one from February 8th. So this is the one about screams. The Oregon Journal said it got a letter Tuesday from a Camas, Washington resident who was parked with a companion at Cascade Locks that evening. The letter said they saw a car proceed under the railroad tracks leading to the old river locks. Moments later, the writer said they heard screams, went to investigate, and found nothing. After learning of the Martin family disappearance, they reported it to authorities. Sheriff Rupert Gilmouth of Hood River County said the locks had been checked with divers and metal detectors without finding the Martins' car, but he said he felt there was possibly that the car went into the water at that point. Interesting. So right there. The journal also said search of deep pools just west of the Dalles at a point where the car tracks indicated a vehicle. The journal also said search of deep pools just west of the Dalles at a point where car tracks indicated a vehicle might have gone into the river had been initiated by it and commercial divers. So what does that look like? And they say old locks. Maybe that's what that is right there, you know? Maybe it's an old one. What happened to the fish? God, the body of the fish. Oh, good Lord. Is that, do you have a little bit of that OCD? Well, I kind of like that look that this has, you know? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Really good 3D perspective. It's a little bit better than Google Earth right there. Well, of course, it just went into the water. He only came up with the head of the fish, right? That means it's in the water. You know what's weird is why does it have to be explained? He fell into the water and he came up with only the head. Well, it's a current, right? So then the fish traveled downstream. I didn't know that was going to be the biggest mystery of tonight's show. What happened to the fish? Yikes. Okay, but anyways, that was 1961, the Scream article. Let me just try one more time on Google Earth, though. Let's see what happens. Will it? Oh, it's trying. It's going to try. Yes, and the fish likely sank to the bottom of the stream, attracting various creatures that will consume flesh on the bottom of any stream in North America, perhaps even crayfish, sometimes catfish. Now, what I think they did was they ate the fish, and then, within days they pooped the contents out of their intestines, and the fish has then rejoined the cycle of life. Okay, and I think we can all rest easier knowing that fish helped out a lot of other creatures out there. All right, thank you. Because that's how you hold it in the gills, That's how people hold fish. You don't sit there and squeeze at the body. You look like a weirdo. You look like a psycho caveman carrying it in the middle. You hold him in their gills. I already cleaned the fish. Man. How about you have some questions related to the case? Wouldn't that be interesting? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems like it's weird. We go over this case for, 6 hours, and the question is about an aside story that's absolutely irrelevant. It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, this is the sound effect that's in my head right now. Let's see, where is it? Oh hell, I don't even know if anything's working. Oh, there we go. That one. Stick your head through the screen right now, Zozo. Here we go. All right, now we're moving from the last article was 19 1961. Now we're going to 1967. And now you got these crazy articles coming out here. New theory pinpoints exact spot of tragedy. The bitterly cold waters of the Columbia River still hide the reason for the December 7th, 1958 disappearance of a Portland family, Mr. and Mrs. E. Kenneth Martin, and their 3 daughters. What does that mean, Zozo? That doesn't make any sense. Again, I think you're just trolling tonight. It's weird. The bitterly cold waters of the Columbia River still hide the reason for the December 7th, 1958 disappearance of a Portland family, Mr. and Mrs. E. Kenneth Martin. Investigative efforts by a number of law enforcement officers and the Oregonian suggest today that the missing Martin car and perhaps 3 of the bodies are in cold, deep water of the Columbia River near the Dalles, some 47 miles from where the search concentrated in 1959. So they think it's all the way up by the Dalles. That's wild. Found by a private citizen early in 1959 and substantiated by police, car tracks, which could match the Martin's car, did show that an automobile was driven laboriously into the river off a deep escarpment near the Harvey aluminum plant. Is that still there? Oh man, this doesn't work quite as good as the Wow, is it actually there? Holy crap. Oh wait, hydro, how did it go to that? North America. That's interesting because it chose this one, and that's in the Dalles, exactly where they were saying. Hydro extrusion, North America. I wonder why it came up with that one. Because the car's heavy and it went to the bottom of the river, Zozo. You know, it's like a rock. It's at the bottom of the river. Why would it go to the dam? So the car's in the water. A anchor from a ship was there, and apparently it had something really heavy, and then it fell off, and it was right in that area, and people think it was the car again that fell to the bottom. Cars are really heavy, and when they're filled with water, they just kind of hit the bottom, and they barely move ever again once they get sort of at the bottom down there. They sink, they get to the bottom, they sink into the sediment, and they're just kind of stuck there for years. And then maybe when it got pulled up, it got up in the air a little bit, and then it floated down and went maybe another 50 feet downstream and then hit the bottom again. And then the bodies were able to, they kind of washed out. That's the deal. We kind of went over that earlier too. All right, so Harvey aluminum plant, right? So I guess it's not even in the paper. Did I spell Harvey right? Yep. No, I spelled aluminum wrong though. What an idiot. Hold on a second. A-L-U-M. Let's try that one. Maybe that'll Ferguson Plumbing. And in England they say aluminium. I was like Illuminati. Okay, well there's the 1956. Mentions it right here. Work on the Harvey aluminum plant here was halted temporarily yesterday. And okay, that's December. Might be related to the Martins. Aluminum firm charges tax commission. Okay, no, but that's right in the same time frame. 1959. Plan on schedule. So they were just building it right there. So they're going to start building it in 56, so it was new. Yeah, aluminium. Harold, formerly chief, operates the Harvey system. His headquarters will be in Torrance, California, where the... Okay, that's not... Alright. Forget it. The Oregonian has rechecked with witnesses and found that men working with a drilling rig and tugboat at the river spot... Okay, here's that spot right here. See, here's the part where they mention this. So they're saying it was up there. That's interesting. The Oregonian is rechecked with witnesses and found that men working with a drilling rig and tugboat at the river spot on May 1st, 1959, so that would be the following year, believe they turned over a submerged car with their anchor, possibly releasing bodies of two of smallest girls. And you know what's interesting about that? So that's on the 1st of May. And, you know, we're all the way up in the Dalles. And you know what? In one day, that other girl was 25. One of the youngest daughters, Susan, was 25 miles downstream. So that just shows you how far. So when the car opened up in the Dalles, when it was is this the Dalles? Yeah, the Dalles is just right there. So here's Hood River. That's apparently where they had a meal. And look at, so that means they could have gone somewhere up here to get their greens, went to Hood River to have their meal. Well, how would that happen now? Would they have got their meal first, though? Because they would be alive in Hood River. So maybe they hadn't got their greens yet, and they were still... That part's a little weird, because if that was 4:30 getting their meal, and then they went in the water up here, why would they still be looking for their greens when it's getting dark outside? That's kind of odd. And, you know, again, they weren't sure if she was accurate, so we don't know. Alright, so anyways, the Oregonian has rechecked with witnesses and found that men working with a drilling rig and tugboat at the river spot on May 1st believe they turned over a submerged car with their anchor, possibly releasing bodies of two smallest girls. An angler at Cascade Locks witnessed two bodies floating through the locks the next morning. Oh man. Hey, we didn't hear about that one. So somebody fishing saw two bodies floating through the locks the next morning. That's crazy. May 2nd. And then on May 3rd, one body, that of Susan, 10, was found in Camas Slough, below Bonneville Dam. On May 4th, that of Virginia, 12, was found at Bonneville Dam. Their arrival downriver is consistent with the speed of the flow of the Columbia, supposing they were loosened from a car at the Dalles by that anchor. Wow, that actually sounds pretty good. That sounds like good. This particular spot is 0.9 of a mile from frontage road. Okay, let's try to get I wish I had Google Earth though, that's the problem. Let me try this one more time. I'll try to shut down. Yeah, it's right there. See, for some reason I can't end Google Earth. It's like it's open. I don't want it to be open. Okay, the particular spot is 0.9 of a mile from frontage road. Oh, so it's just that road. So frontage road, the Dowels. Yeah. I don't know. They don't mention it in there. It's not in the Dowels for some reason. Particular spot is 0.9 of a mile from frontage road. Road is the river at almost its narrowest, swiftest, between sharp curves through basalt with cliffs instead of beach. Oh, let's see if we can... Well, it is really narrow right there. See that? Let me take a look at... is there a street view on this thing? Yeah, there it is. Oops, that's not a... That's a railroad track. How about down there? No. Yeah, not a fan of this program, I'll tell you that. I mean, it has some cool views, but... Yeah, screw it. I mean, I see these cliffs right there. And that's near that Rowena Crest area. With the loops, it was called. From the original stories. Proper exploration would necessitate a search by hard hat deep divers. Why was it never done before? Because no one had the incentive or jurisdiction or the money, and it could only really be done at a time of very low water. The search originally was on a large scale and involved many divergent police agencies. Besides, the most insistent of these still content the demise of the Martins was accidental, and in the end, everybody was terribly tired of it all. Budgets had no money, and most felt they could do no more. They may have been looking in the wrong place. Because car tracks Because car tracks in early 1959 were found leading to the steep cliff overhanging the river at the Dow site, officers who saw them are in agreement that some car was driven off the escarpment after first laboriously bucking over perhaps a quarter block of rough ground to the river's edge. Maybe he had like something happened to his heart, you know, and he just veered off. But what about the people that heard screams down by the locks? I don't know. There was no reason for the Ken Martin, a carefully meticulous automobile driver, or the family to go there of their own accord, and on that winter day there was no trees or greens there. The river's edge was too hard to get to. It was no accident a car went in there. If it was the Martins' car, somebody wanted to put it there If so, why? The Martin Ford, see now they're actually throwing a criminal angle in here. The Martin Ford, a 9-passenger, 4-door station wagon, was a 1954 model. It was cream or off-white with red trim around the windows. What's that say? Around the motor number was U4LX132474. The 1958 Oregon license was number IG7156. The rear seat had been removed. It was believed to have white sidewall tires, newly purchased. Casts later made of the tracks of the Dows fit tires like those put on the Martin's car. What is even more fascinating is the report of men on a drilling rig and on a tugboat working near the Dows spot with the rig's anchor on Friday, May 1st, 1959, the day before the first body was sighted, floating in the Columbia River going through... let me read that again. What is even more fascinating is the report of men on a drilling rig and on a tugboat working near the Dallas spot with the rig's anchors on Friday, May 1st, 1959, because the girls were found on May 4th and 5th, the day before the first body was sighted, floating in the Columbia River, going through Cascade Locks. Wow. The men fouled one of the 2-ton anchors of the rig on something heavy on an underwater shelf of the base of the cliff, from which someone's car apparently had been driven. So they had the tracks go in, and then you've got these anchors that were stuck on the exact same spot. Attempting to pull it loose, they raised this heavy object partway up, but not above the water. Oh, wow. So they did get it partway up, not above the water. Some of the men were sure it was an automobile, and one of them said he struck steel when he attempted to poke it with a pike pole, but they lost it before it completely surfaced. Oh, man. I mean, this case has the worst freaking luck ever, right? This incident occurred between 2 and 4 p.m. At 6 a.m. Saturday, May 2nd, the next day, a young angler spotted a body floating through the swift water in the now unused locks at Cascade. I think that's exactly what that spot that we were looking at. Its hair swirling in the water. Minutes later, he saw a second one. Wow. He and his wife then drove further downstream to near underpinnings of Bridge of the Gods to watch them. Wow, they kept watching the bodies. Jeez. The bodies separated, he said, and one went towards the dam, the other towards the fish ladder. Oh, man. That is just incredible. I mean, this is 1967. Look at the detail you get in there. I mean, that's... Yeah, there's the dam right here. So they watched... But where they were watching, this is Cascade Locks. That's the Bridge of the Gods right here. So from there... I don't know how they could see that they separated and one went towards the fish ladder. I don't think that's what that is. I think the fish ladder is like right here. Something like that. And so that would make it easy for her body to get through, because it's just a fish ladder where it flows down, and when fish are coming upstream, they jump up and can go through instead of getting cut up by the turbines of the dam. That's crazy. Jeez. Okay, the incident occurred between 2 and 4. Let me read this again. His wife then drove further downstream to near underpinnings of the Bridge of the Gods to watch them. The bodies separated, he said, and one went towards the dam, the other towards the fish ladder. A little before noon Sunday, May 3rd, the body of the youngest Martin, daughter Susan, was discovered by crewmen of the Crown Zellerback tug in Camas Slough, near the lower end of Lady Island, below Bonneville. About noon Monday, May 4th, the body of the second youngest daughter, Virginia, was discovered in debris lodged against the spillway above the dam. These were the smallest members of the family, and police theorized that perhaps they somehow were loosened from the Martin car. No other member of the family ever was found. The bodies of the two young girls had been somewhere very cold because of their preservation. Autopsy said death was by drowning some 2 hours after the girls had eaten a meal of what appeared to be hamburger, fried potatoes. So, gosh, you know what? That makes it sound like they did stop. I wonder if they were able to compare. You know, that waitress seemed like she really remembered everything. Does she remember what they ate? Because maybe they ate there first and then went more east to get some greens for some reason when it's getting dark at that point. And then 2 hours later, they're coming back after getting greens in the dark, perhaps. And then the car went in the water. I mean, who knows how that all went down, really. Could have been foul play, could have been anything. No other members of the family ever were found. The bodies of the two young girls had been somewhere very cold because of their preservation. Autopsy said death was by drowning and that she had eaten a meal of what appeared to be hamburger, fried potatoes, and some form of citrus fruit. When the body of Susan was found, dressed in her sister's blue jacket, her own red and white striped Torador pants, and Campfire Girl's blouse, Sheriff Clarence McKay of Clark County said, "I would guess the body has been on top of the water for a while. The coloring on one side indicates it had been floating quite a time." The Columbia was experiencing its May runoff at this time. The usual rate of flow at the Dalles is about 3 to 5 miles an hour. Had the river turned over the Martin's car, or had the drill rig anchor broken open a door or a window? Only the smallest two bodies were recovered. See, I thought that was interesting too. Both Mr. and Mrs. Martin weighed more than 200 pounds. The elder daughter weighed about 120. Nothing found. Extensive diving operations were conducted at Cascade Locks, both after the Martins were first found missing and again after the first bodies were found. Nothing was found there. Later, when an alert was sounded about a possible car in the river at the Dalles, amateur skin divers attempted to get down, but when one almost was lost in the high, swift spring water, efforts were discontinued. Skin divers, geez, that's crazy. The river is so deep there, reportedly more than 160 feet in some pockets. It would require sophisticated rigging and hard helmet divers. You know, the deep sea divers. What else is there? What else is there of a mystery? Well, the time is unsure, but the Martins did buy gas at Cascade Locks sometime that afternoon of December 7th. There were at least 7 credit card. There were at least 7 credit card. Does it continue somewhere else? That's it? 7 credit card. It just seemed like it just stopped in mid-sentence. December 7, 1958, sometime in the early afternoon, Kenneth Martin, 54, of Portland, electrical engineer, and his wife Barbara, nicknamed BB, 48, left their home, telling relatives they were going to get Christmas greens. With them were daughters Barbara Lee, 14, Virginia Ann, 12, and Susan Margaret, 10. The only other intimate family member, a son, Don, then 28, was in New York in school at the time. December 7, 1958, sometime in the afternoon, Ken Martin bought 5 gallons of gasoline for $1.82. Boy, I wish it was still that. at the Dean Baxter Standard Station at Cascade Locks. Baxter was killed 3 months ago in an automobile accident. December 7, 1958, between 2 and 4:30 p.m., the Martins had lunch at Hood River. Okay, so between 2 and 4:30. Yeah, so there's a lot of variance here. So if they had lunch earlier, maybe like 2, like they're saying, maybe even 2:30, 3, then sure, you'd still go try to get some greens and then head on home, right? Greenery. December 8, 1958, a stolen white Chevrolet was first noticed abandoned east of Cascade Locks. January 18, 1959, Theodore K. Hellier Odell found a stolen .38 Colt Commander automatic with serial number 15861 LW beside a rock just west of Cascade Locks. So they found a gun. Late January, early February 1959, Don D. Bain of Portland found suspicious car tracks leading into the Columbia River near the Dalles. But how do you know when the tracks were made if you got there so late? May 1st, 1959, at car track site, drilling and tugboat men fouled an anchor on what they believed was submerged car, causing it to turn over. May 2nd, at 6 a.m., an angler at Cascade Locks saw 2 bodies floating on the Columbia River. May 3rd, a little before noon, Susan's body was discovered by men on Crown Zellerback tug in Camas Slough. May 4th, 1959, at about noon, Virginia's body was discovered in debris against spillway of Bonneville Dam. Since then, there's been nothing. Purchases later than one of a man who, purchases, is that where that joined up again? How stupid, jeez. There were at least 7 credit card purchases later than one of a man who recalled the exact time, 1 p.m. He charged a tire change on his own card at the Cascade Lock Standard Station. In other years, the Martins had often gone to the long-needled pine area for Christmas greens in the Hood River Mosier Loop of the Columbia River Highway, where these trees grow right along the road. Near the Hood River Mosier Loop. Is it still there? I don't know. Snacks recalled. This is above Hood River towards the Dalles. Sometime that afternoon, perhaps as early as 2 p.m., possibly as late as 4:30 p.m., the family had snacks at the Paradise Inn snack bar. Is that still there? Nah, I doubt it. Wait. Paradise Trail Christian Camp. Yeah, it's one of these places. A waitress who served them remembers them very well in the almost empty restaurant, even to descriptions of their clothing, sizes, ponytails, attitudes, and the food they ordered. In 1959, she felt they were late in the afternoon because she remembered something about having to turn on the restaurant outside lights. Today, she thinks it might be earlier. Another mystery is a white Chevrolet automobile abandoned east of Cascade Locks on a highway drive-off. It was noticed there by a number of people on December 8th. A week or so later, it was towed away. This car, which still had a little gas in it and a key in the ignition, had been stolen from California. Well, remember, the guy let him borrow it. An ex-San Quentin convict was charged with grand larceny. It is unknown here what the outcome was. The ex-convict was known to have been visiting a friend just across the Columbia at Dallasport. Another mystery is the discovery of an Odell man, Theodore Hellier, who died last summer of a .38 caliber Colt Commander automatic. Died last summer. So the mystery is Odell man of a .38 caliber Colt Commander automatic beside a rock near Cascade Locks at a spot now covered by a new highway. Its butt was heavily damaged, and if repeatedly hit on something, as if it was repeatedly hit on something, and it had one cartridge of 9 fired, so it had one bullet, so it might have been somebody who just killed themselves right on the edge of the water, but the empty shell had not ejected. This gun was stolen from Meyer and Frank Company in Portland in 1955. That's interesting. Police officers have suggested that a strong man being shot at a close range could grab the slide atop the barrel and prevent the cartridge ejection. There also were some older... Well, that's weird. That means that it probably wasn't suicide then. Some old deer bones near this site. Did someone shoot a deer with this handgun? If so, why was it left behind? At any rate, the gun was turned over to Sheriff Rupert Gilmouth of Hood River County. He later gave it back to Hillier, and it is now in the possession of his widow, Bonnie Hillier. Why was the river not better probed? Let's see. It is an enormous river, and originally the search spread up and down more than 100 miles of it. After the bodies were found, the search narrowed to the area above Bonneville Dam. If one includes the Dalles, it is at least 50 miles. During that first 6 months of search, before the dozen different police agencies could even be sure the family was in the river, they had spent enormous amount of effort, manpower, time, and money over mountains, forests, roads, and river tributaries, even as far as into Idaho. we got a troll that showed up on tonight. Jeez, what a bunch of clowns. Yeah, I would do my Apple break, but I don't have anything behind it now. No one police agencies over all authorities. The Martins were missing from Portland, where Portland Police and Multnomah County Sheriff's Office took concern. Part of the search centered in Hood River County and part in the Wasco County, also the several counties of the Washington Shore. There were some interagencies as well as the interagency jealousies involved. No one agency had all the reports, although Multnomah County kept the bulk of them. Yeah, so anyways, let's see, is that there page 2 of this? This is another article, I think. 1967, December 17th, same thing. Many feel sure Martin's victim of a crime. See, like, there's the gun. I mean, it's pretty wild. Among the most determined is a retired Multnomah County Deputy Sheriff, Walter Gravin, who was disappointed that he could not complete the investigation in the case, insist he was taken off of it, and at one time ordered to write no more reports suggesting foul play. Gravin, who now lives on a farm near Estacada, spent many months of official investigation on the case and many hours of his own time. He also subscribes to the theory that the Martin car is probably in a deep trench of the Columbia River. If we find that car in there, he said, it has to be murder. He pointed out that the little-used riverfront access road would have to be known by someone who would deliberately put a car in the river. But see, that's if you believe it went in right there. He also pointed out that a .38 automatic, like the one found at Cascade Locks, had been seen 2 weeks or a month prior to the hands of the ex-convict, in the hands of the ex-convict. Wow, that's crazy. So that gun apparently was the gun that the ex-convict had that borrowed the car that was left there. Well, that's pretty weird. Kessler had been seen 2 weeks or a month prior in the hands of the ex-convict who left the 1951 stolen Chevrolet beside the road near Cascade Locks. He said a .38 automatic is a rather unusual gun. I have followed a lot of worse trails. You don't see many .38 automatics. Gravin emphasized his early investigation of the tugboat and drilling rig crewmen who had hooked their anchor into what they thought was a car. It couldn't have been anything else but a car. When he was first shown the 4-inch deep tracks in the dirt across to the sheer bluff of the river, they were quite clear, said Gravin, and he took impressions which he said fit the type of tire a tire company had recently installed on the Martin car. Wow, that's pretty crazy. There was only one set of tracks. There had never been another car out through there, and it never came back out. Gravin said investigation of the deep cliff rock showed some off-white paint. The Martin's car was cream. Gravin said he went to the Dow's site with divers to look over the situation. At the time, the river was high and swift. He said they estimated the river might be as deep as 230 feet in spots. Corps of Engineers sounding recorded on river chart show the deepest the designation at 160 feet. Another firm champion of the Dallas location is a former Portlander, Donald D. Bain of Hayward, California. Bain, now a behavioral consultant for psychologists in California, was original builder of the Portland's first car wash, later had lumbering interest around Newport. A private citizen, he had often taken interest in police work, and so back then he was just like what we do. Included a drive for funds for the family. When the Martins disappeared, he took up his own, does it go back up here? Took up his own searching vigil, as did many individuals, many groups, including church groups. He searched many mountain roads and canyons. It was Bain who found the tire marks near the aluminum plant at the Dalles. It was late January or early February 1959, so it was like 1 or 2 months after they went missing. These tracks went right back down there, said Bain, swinging his arms into an S curve to show how they led from the narrow river bank access road, skirting some big rocks and across a flat meadow-like area right to the bluff. I could see the tracks this deep. He indicated a 4-inch spread with his hand, explaining that winter rains had softened the meadow dirt under the grass. The car went off the bluff. It was 20 feet to the water and 5 feet down. There were flecks of paint, just like chassis had grooved the rocks. Nobody takes a car and shoves it off for no good reason. Bain, who had hiked much of the Lolo Pass Road in the earlier search, said he later returned with a diver and also 6 wetsuit scuba divers. But the 6-knot current and the more than 85 feet of water was too much. They couldn't get deep enough. You see a professional diver with a hard hat. Bain said he tried to report the find to police of the area, but they weren't very interested in following through. One told him somebody probably threw a cook stove in there. Persisting still over the years since, Bain has been back to Portland several times. He finally talked to Lieutenant Howard Benninghoff of the Oregon State Police. Let's see. I don't know what happened to the Martins, but I think I know where they are, Gravin told me. What if we just find that car and find Ken Martin? There'd be a bullet in him. I just couldn't get anybody but Lieutenant Benninghoff to go look at it. The present chief of police of the Dalles, Robert W. Brower, was a patrolman at the time. He is convinced that the logical place for the Martin car is that site. He told of putting skin divers in. Let's see. So those are the two people that saw that. Down the river believed the two younger Martin girls were said to be going through Cascade Locks by an angler, Ellery Richard Colby of Scappoose. He said his wife watched them under the bridge. So these two right there. Anyways, I know it's when I do these shows like this, it takes so long to get all of the information. But what I noticed though is, the whole super chat and channel memberships are so slow on these types of shows. So that's what's so discouraging about doing them, because on this channel, what we're doing is trying to raise fund. Yeah, it helps support the channel, but at the same time, we've donated $41,500 to charities this year. So if I did shows like this all night, every night of the year, we'd probably be able to do like 10,000 or something, if that. So I don't really know how to do it. It's like I really want to do these kind, but they're not really. People aren't as hyped up because everybody's just watching the screen and typing a little bit here and there, and I guess that's just is what it is, right? All right, so we got I got one more part that I was going to look at. I need to get my Google Earth open so I can look at this better. This is too hard to move around on the online version. Yeah, it's really frustrating. All right, this is what it has on the Charlie Project here. So I'll just read that and we'll be done. All right. Kenneth disappeared with his family, his wife Barbara, and 3 daughters, Barbie, Susan, 13, and Virginia, 11. The Martins disappeared from their hometown of Portland, Oregon on December 7, 1958. They set off that day in their 9-passenger cream and red 1954 Ford station wagon with the license plate number 1G7156 en route for Columbia Gorge, where they planned to collect greenery to decorate their home for Christmas. They bought gasoline at Cascade Locks late that afternoon. They were seen leaving a restaurant in Hood River, Oregon, late in the afternoon. On their way back to Portland, Kenneth was carrying 2 cameras. The Martins never arrived home. Everything was left undisturbed at their residence. The previous meal's dishes were draining in the sink. There was a load of wash in the washing machine, and Kenneth's Santa Claus suit was still laid out from a Christmas party he'd been to the night before. They also left a substantial amount of money behind in the family bank accounts. Right, but it doesn't seem like it, RM Bell. You see what I'm saying? I just explained why people aren't as interested in the super chat angle when we do these kind of cases, and you can just tell right now. You just by thanks, Mad Crocheter. Anyways, let's see. In February 1959, a searcher discovered tire tracks matching the Martins' vehicle heading off of a cliff into the Columbia River near the Dalles, Oregon. In May of that year, a river drilling rig near the site of the tire tracks hooked something heavy and metal on its anchor. Before the object could be pulled to the surface, and it sucks because the guy actually hit it with a pole. It was getting so close. A couple of days later, Susan and Virginia's bodies were found downstream near Bonneville Dam. They had both drowned. Photos of the 2 girls are posted with the case summary. The cause of death could not be determined due to decomposition, but Virginia's body had a hole in the head. Kenneth, Barbara, and... hold on. Decomposed, but Virginia's body had a hole in the head. See, this part right here has been disputed. Kenneth, Barbara, and Barbie's remains have not been recovered. So right here, this is saying that she had a hole in her head. Police believe all the Martins either perished after they accidentally drove their car into the river, or possibly they were abducted and were inside their car as it was pushed off the cliff. The only surviving member of the family was the oldest son, Donald, who was in the Navy. A photo of Donald was posted. Okay. Walter Graven of the Multnomah County detective in charge investigating the Martin case believed the family met with foul play. It would have been uncharacteristic of Kenneth to leave home at the time of day, as he didn't like driving after dark. See, that's kind of weird, right? So that lunch must have been earlier. Someone found a blood-stained gun in the Cascade locks. I didn't hear about the blood on it. Near an abandoned stolen car, and turned the gun over to the sheriff's office. The gun was later linked to Donald. He had allegedly stolen it from a sporting goods store several years prior. So, what do you mean to Donald? When was Donald mentioned? Police believe the Martins either... Okay, right here. The only surviving member of the family was the oldest son, Donald. Oh, wow, really? Thanks, Karen Wilson. So someone found a blood-stained gun in the Cascade locks near an abandoned stolen car and turned the gun over to the sheriff's office. The gun was later linked to Donald. How is that possible? Where the hell was that made? He had allegedly stolen it, so that the youngest son stole this? This is in... I mean, I don't know how accurate this is. This is in Charlie Project. They're usually pretty accurate, but... Raven suspected Donald was involved in his family's disappearance. What? Wait, the gun was later linked to Donald. He had allegedly stolen it from a sporting goods store several years prior to his family's disappearance. It was never processed for evidence, however. Raven suspected Donald was involved in his family's disappearance as he couldn't find anyone else who had motive. Donald had a poor relationship with his family, and he didn't... Well, it is kind of interesting. He's the only survivor, right? He didn't come back to Oregon during the search for them. All right, but isn't there evidence? Because he would have had to fly all the way to New York and back, right? Although he did speak to Graven over the phone, he didn't attend the memorial service for his family, although he did return to Oregon in June of 1959 to settle the estate. He told Graven he couldn't think of anyone who had any reason to hurt his family, but that he also couldn't see how it could have been an accident. An attempt was made to search the water for additional evidence, but the search was called off when a diver nearly died. Graven died in 1988 and Donald died in 2003. Kenneth, Barbara, and Barbie remain missing. That's weird. Hadn't really thought of... I mean, just a glancing thought, like, oh yeah, look at, he's a surviving... Now look how bright my head is. Yeah. Hold on, let me fix the lighting here. Is it that button? Yeah, it doesn't even look like I can do anything. Oh, there we go. I like that. It's too dark, bright. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy right now. I don't know why the articles don't say it, but it could have been other books written over the years. None of the articles said that there was blood on the gun or anything like that. There's also Wikipedia here. Thanks, Patty Barnett. Son Donald Martin had been accused of stealing. Okay. So it is in Wikipedia here. The handgun... Well, I think they got this from, though, that article. The handgun was turned over to law enforcement, but never processed for evidence. The gun's serial number was traced to Myron Frank department store, and it was subsequently discovered that the gun had been among several sporting good items that the son, Donald Martin, had been accused of stealing. I mean, that has to be related, you know? But there wasn't, I mean, what did he do? Track him down while they were driving? And it just seems kind of weird. And wouldn't there be evidence that he, came home from New York? I mean, what were the dates that he flew? In December 1968, 8 years after the disappearance, eldest son Donald, the only surviving member of the family, inherited the family's modest estate, which had been in mandated probate for 7 years. So there you go. There's your answer. You got everything. Multnomah County Police consistently suspected foul play in the Martin's disappearance based on the evidence of the tire tracks that indicated the family's vehicle was deliberately pushed from the cliff. Also troubling were the reported sightings of the family at dusk on the north bank of the river in Washington state, while the tire tracks placed them on the south side of the river in Oregon. This would suggest that their car would have fallen over the cliff after nightfall. The arrest of the 2 ex-convicts in the Hood River area the day after the family disappeared for car theft was also noted, though police were unable to determine if the incidents were related. The remains of Susan and Virginia remained at the Riverview Abbey Mausoleum in Portland, unclaimed for over a decade after their deaths, so their brother didn't come and get them. Weird. On December 30th, 1969, the urns containing their remains were retrieved by an unknown individual. Well, what do you mean unknown? You just give it to anybody that walks in? The girl's paternal grandmother, Margaret Martin, had died the day before, December 29th, and the girl's cremains were claimed while funeral arrangements were being made for her. The most of the latter part of the 20th century, search efforts to discover the remaining 3 missing family members were not made. In July 1999, however, Oregonian journalist Margie Belay, who had become interested in the case, organized a dive search of the Columbia River near Cascade Locks, searching for the Martins' car. This search utilized new sonar, global positioning system, and LiDAR, underwater acoustic technology, but ultimately proved unsuccessful. As of 2020, the remains of Kenneth, Barbara, and Barbie remain undiscovered, and their vehicle has not been found. All right, well, there you go. I don't have my Google Earth on the screen to put up, so oh well. So now you don't really know, right? Now it's just a total mystery. Were they murdered? I thought they just kind of their car went off into the water. But if you believe that theory, which actually makes a hell of a lot of sense, it easily could have been, something nefarious. I think you got to ask yourself, what are the odds that a gun that the only surviving family member was accused of stealing, years earlier, is found, in the general area right around that time? Man, do they still have that gun? And if so, why don't you do genetic genealogy on the blood that was found on the gun? I think that would be amazing, because the blood would likely not be his. Or, it might be one of the Martin family members. So, there you go. But anyways, I think I'm just gonna make it a short night tonight, and going to, well, short night, 2 hours and 41 minutes. Pretty long time. So thank you guys all for watching. Sorry it wasn't more interesting. Let me get the, there we go. So thank you to Karen, let's see, hold on, let me start at the top. Swerbs, Paul Ayers, Lee D, Carol Keesaw, Kathy Freidenmaker, Lee D, Linda Howell, Mary Glaviano, Sarita, Ludai Price, Eugenie, Cheyenne R, Jessica Schubach, Cindy Leon, Jessica Schubach, Alifair M, R.M. Bell, Gloria Batari, Zozo, Karen Wilson, Mad Crocheter, and Karen Wilson. Thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things where you put in, took me probably 8 hours to get all these articles together, and then a 3-hour show, and you feel like, man, isn't that worth like a Starbucks tip, or something? It's a lot of work. So that's one of the frustrating things. You just never know what night's going to bring. That's why I could never do YouTube full time, because you just never know. You could spend days getting stuff together for every show, and then it just depends on people. But anyways, thank you guys very much. Paulette Leonard right there at the end. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys, guess we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so thank you guys very much, and as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now, and during this whole time I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector, gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Greg is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I'm the type of fucking jet. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. Alright, everybody?
Alright, everybody, see you guys later.